Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, good morning, good morning. So before we go ahead and high five and all the rest of that, it is important to note that the market is notoriously the most vengeful adversary you could ever have. And what I mean by that is, so when you're investing in the market, say you win, made a profit, you made a profit, you made a profit, your $100 turns to $200, turns to $300, turns to $400. Well, a couple of things are true at that moment. A, unbeknownst to you, you're feeling quite omnipotent. Like you just had five in a row, double, double, double. Like you're the smartest person. No one's smarter than you. And I know that sounds silly, and it's unbeknownst to you because you don't recognize it. You have a certain confirmation bias because you went ahead and identified so many stocks that were correct, like that you outperformed others. Well, implicitly, the way you rationalize that, your self-rationalization is, well, apparently I know more than other people do, which actually might even be true. The problem with that is when you accept that thought as perpetual, correct? Like you knew more than everyone in that moment. But the problem is if you accept that thought, when is that no longer true? And when that's no longer true, are you able to identify it before it's no longer true or after it's no longer true? That's the problem. Because if you're able to have a certain level of success that allows you to believe, and maybe even rightfully so, that you're just smarter than everyone at the moment, well, what is the check and balance system inside your brain to say, all right, maybe I'm not as smart as everyone today. How do I figure that out? Like, what would you do to figure that out? Unfortunately, the only thing you can do to figure that out is do the same exact thing that allowed you to think that in the first place. So if you're doing so well with stocks or so well with options or whatever the case may be, that is the genesis, that is the existence of the event that allowed you to believe it, which means the only way to unbelieve it or to realize you were wrong is for that same genesis to have a different outcome. So what happens is somebody will turn $100 into $200 to $300 to $400, which means conceivably you just made three trades in a row of 100% gain. Well, 100%, 50%, 33, whatever. You made $100 on each time. If you had three home run trades, how many trades does it take to bring you back to zero? In fact, you could have 100 home run trades. How many trades does it take to bring you back to zero? Just one. That's it. So what is the level of omnipotence one might have that they are predisposed and have confirmation bias to not even be able to see the one or two things that they would have caught if they were as sharp as they were in the beginning, right? It could be just one thing. It could be the silliest error. And in fact, when you're doing so well, you overlook the silly errors because you believe that it's implicit in the way you're doing things that those silly errors can't touch me. I'm Anthony. Are you kidding me? The point of the story is, sure, everyone could do well. We can make money on stocks. That's fine. It does not give anyone license to then be completely irresponsible going forward. It just doesn't work that way. Because you can talk to anyone that's been in the stock market that has had success, which is X amount of people. About 99% of them will also tell you, and then bop, 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 and I lost all my money. And then bop, 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 I lost all my money. I don't know what that bop, bop, bop was, but I'm not really trying to be a part of that bop, bop, bop. So I say this as a preamble and a cautionary tale. I will be here, and I love to high five. We did well, right? Like everyone did well. And by we, I mean whoever decided to copy me. That was a good idea on your own behalf, right? And I'm okay high fiving, but I'm not okay saying, okay, we're great. Yes, everything's great. We're great. No, enough of that. Now we move on to the next one. It's over. It's gone. RHI, bye-bye. Thank you. Bye. Gone. What's next? So sorry to throw a little cold water, but you need it. Yesterday, what did we look at? We looked at higher price, lower volume, higher volatility. And what you can't see is that this all opened red. In fact, this was deeply red. The NASDAQ and the Dow, I believe, was down. So actually we can see it. Let's just see what it looks like today. So one day it opened over here, right? Open 35,091. It closed at 35,156 yesterday. Yeah, so the Dow opened down 60. Okay. The point being, the Dow opened down 60. I think the NASDAQ opened down 200. S&P opened down 20 or 30. Russell was down. But when we said yesterday, when you saw price going up and volume going down, that means there's not many people believing that price any longer. On top of that, when you see the volatility increasing, it means people are, okay, what's going on? I'm getting a little nervous. Your mailman came. He has quite a knock. No, it's fine. I'm on live right now, but I got the door. He's like, bump, bump, bump. Yeah. Anyway. What ended up happening was things worked out well, right? Like we had thought this would be the case, and this was the case, which is fine. It's something to celebrate, but it just means that when you're constantly reorganizing your thesis and you're retesting your thesis and you're saying, am I correct? Why did I think I would be correct? And are those the reasons I was correct? You see, the headline doesn't matter. I don't really care. It's like, remember when you were in school and you had a math test and the teacher's like, I want to see your work. Don't just put the answer. I want to see your work. And you're like, it's in my brain. Why do I need to show you my work? It wasn't that you got the answer right or wrong. It was that you'd be able to continually through the rest of your life get the answer right or wrong because your work was correct. If you thought 2 plus 2 is 4 and 2 times 2 is 4, hence anything plus something times the same thing equals the same thing, you'd be wrong. All right, so let's see what we got going on here. Nothing really, but the bigger ones, Netflix and Tesla are down, but that's because they had earnings yesterday. So what does that mean if they had earnings and the stock is down? Well, two things. Well, it could be one of two things. One, they did not meet expectations, or actually, I guess it could be the same thing. They didn't meet expectations. But whose expectations? Because both of those stocks actually eclipsed analysts' expectations. The analysts had them earning X amount, they earned more. The analysts had them getting X amount of subscribers, they had more. The analysts had blah, 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 they had more. So why are the stocks down? Because people front ran it. They believed the same thing. They believed that these stocks were going to do well as well. They believed that these companies were going to do well as well. They got in front of it, and then they moved the expectations so high that they couldn't beat those numbers, which says what? The market has been moving quite high. People are getting quite aggressive. In fact, they're getting so aggressive that they're overshooting. What does that mean? Well, it means everyone's in a good mood. But what does that tell you going forward? Well, now let's look. These were the winners. They overshot. Now what happens? Do they go ahead and continue down? Do they get punished? Do they continue falling? Or does someone say, okay, they overshot, let's recalibrate, but these are still great companies. I still want to get in them, which would show you an optimism going forward. So if you were to ask me, Anthony, what is the one or two stocks you would watch today? Netflix and Tesla. Netflix is down 8.7, Tesla's down 6.8. If these stocks end up down 1, 2, 3, God forbid they're even up, then that tells you a lot going forward. Let's take a look at our stuff over here. Okay. So first, all right, so this is the moment we could say hooray. Like, yay, 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 we're so cool, we're so smart. 33, boom. Now we got in at what, 31? And we said, all right, well, it stinks that we're early, but we were very disciplined with our pricing, which meant even though we were wrong for, say, 8 hours, we didn't lose any money. In fact, I think it went under 310, maybe once, maybe went to 3, maybe once. And in fact, we were right there. That was the next morning of the day that we bought it. So, you know, do we wish we would have done better? Sure. But then we were able to see this 33 and boom, look where it opened. It even opened at the high of the day and it just down, 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 down. Now we can ask ourselves, well, why is it down? But that's the wrong question. Who really cares? And I don't say that to be rude, and I don't say that to sound like Wall Street rhetoric, right? It is a low shock value, and I'm kind of doing it a little purposely, but even still, not really. We don't actually care what this company does. We did not buy it for any. Think about it. We made money on a stock having no clue of anything the company does. I have no clue. I looked at it. They were compared with Carvana, so it's professional services. I don't know any of their products. I have no clue about anything of it. But I know human behavior. I know what this looks like. I know what these numbers mean. I know what this means. I know what these bands mean. And I know what history has suggested. It doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. So we're going to move this stock now down to our bottom. And what do I mean? Well, Merck popped. We need to make sure, look at that, 19. And look what it did, right? So that's why we didn't get it. It wasn't a red anymore. So it was a 16 red and green, presumably a 17. So 17 red and green, boom. And of course, when I say of course, I'm talking about me. I don't buy 17 red and greens. But do they not work, right? Like some of them work, great. But we need to keep this information so that when this is done, which it might actually be done today, we can include this data into our calls, right? Because this data is dynamic. We're not just going to say, okay, we got the last year of data and we're never going to add to it again. No, we're going to add to it every single stock. Presumably 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, this data is going to be so honed in that who knows, maybe we build an algorithm that trades for itself, right? Like that's Rhino. We're always going to take the next step. But these are the steps along the way. If I just came to you today and said, hey, by the way, I got this idea, I built this algorithm, you should really buy into it, it trades for itself, you'd be like, Anthony, in the speed of the world we're in today, I still appreciate doing the work. Let's roll up our sleeves, let's do it the correct way. Same thing with AT&T. So it was an 18 red and green. Boom, look at it. Now, is this by coincidence? Is this by surprise? I mean, there's only so many times we can be right. Like, take a look at this. So what you'll see here is all the different calls, 325 occurrences, right? Like of these 325, and now here's the raw data, right? So this is 24 red and green. Do you see any numbers negative? No. 19, do you see any numbers negative? No. 18, do you see any numbers negative? 1, 2, 3, okay. 17, 1, 2, well actually 3 plus 2 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, no 20s, no 20, oh, 21, 13. Okay, 13. That means in 325 occurrences, the stock has subsequently gone up 312 of them. Do you know what 312 out of 325 is? That's 97, 98%. So it's not a coincidence. You know, like if we're able to identify a stock that's going to go up 97% of the time, there's a lot of work that went into it. Here it is. That's why we're doing options, though. So I need to make something very clear. If we were just trading stocks, we wouldn't need to have the time that we're spending together. I could, all right, this stock, this stock, this stock, this stock, but what's the gain? Okay, I made 2% here. I made 3% there. My $100 turned into 102. Wow, that was fun. That sounds like the most boring life ever. I'm no interest in it. Because we're so accurate with that, we then extrapolate and leverage it and say, if we're so accurate, how can we turn that to even more money? That's where options come in. So if we're able to average a 2 or 3% return on the stock, well, if you do an option, anyone that got into it saw 20, 30, 40%. Like I sold early today and I got 29%. When Bill said he made 200, I'm assuming he sold a little bit after me, probably got 40, 50%. So we got to make sure that we continue adding these. Same thing with Verizon. 17 red and green, bam. And then RHI, 33. When does this stop? Like we'll take note of that. So what do we have though? So now this one's no longer available. See, it's disqualified. We'll keep it there just in case it goes back down, but I doubt it. Waste management, look, 12 red and no green, but boom, popped up. So our list is looking a little bit bare, to be honest. So we'll go take a look at it today, see if we could spend some time and, fish for new fish. And I hope we find some, right? Like they're good. Anthony, amazing trader, perfect management emotions. You never buy into. Thank you. So I do my job to not even know the story. Craig, 30%. Oh, Bill, the big winner, 64%. You know what's always funny? I'm the big loser. I had 29.03. Can't catch a break. Okay. But making money once or twice is cool. Knowing how to make money is cooler. So that's the thing. So as long as we continue learning, we're good. Love everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.